At this time, I would ask senior members of the Brookline High Camerata and all in the public and the students to remain standing for the national anthem, sung by the Camerata under the direction of Michael Driscoll.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the hope of the brave?
I would now have your attention come to the class marshals, Aaron Frederick and James Pronovost, who will seat the class of 2015. Thank you very much. Susan Wolf Ditkoff, chair of the school committee, will speak to you now.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome back the class of 1965 to Brookline High School. Time is a funny thing. Things that we take for granted now and think about as ancient history and inevitable, those things actually happened when you walked these halls, and they weren't always inevitable. At the time, they were new and revolutionary. So let's rewind the clock for just a moment and remember what your senior year was like in 1964 to 1965. In a word, wow, there's a lot of snickering over there. In a word, it was epic. Starting in the summer before your senior year, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was signed into law. The U.S. began bombing North Vietnam in the midst of the Cold War. The Catholic Church in the United States replaced Latin with English. And of course, the Beatles released a string of #1 hits, A Hard Day's Night, 8 Days a Week, and Ticket to Ride. In January of 1965, Sir Winston Churchill died. In February, Malcolm X was assassinated. In March was Bloody Sunday at Pettus Bridge during the famous march from Selma to Montgomery. And as you were graduating, Medicare was just being created. As we sit here today, those events seem inevitable in retrospect, and even dusty, musty in the history books. But again, at the time, they were revolutionary. So let's look at history in a different way. Back in 1965, what actual events today would have seemed impossible back then? Obviously, the Red Sox winning the World Series after 86 years. Of course, that one seems impossible again. The US and Russia didn't go to war. We have a black president, we have gay marriage, we have a transgender Olympic champion on the cover of Vanity Fair. But the work is far from over. We have miles to go as a society. But here's what's striking to me, class of 1965. Nothing is inevitable. So now I turn to today's graduates. You will be sitting over there in 50 years. You're part of an unbroken chain of decades of BHS graduates. In 50 years, what will history remember about the class of 2015? What imperfections and injustices in our society will you be working to fix? What opportunities will you build? Turns out, we humans are pretty lousy at predictions, but what are we great at? Imagination, creativity, bringing dreams into reality through hard work and persistence. So while we can't predict the future, we can imagine it, and you can create it. Welcome back, 1965. Congratulations, 2015. And remember that nothing is inevitable.
Good afternoon. My name is Alexia Thomas, and I'm the Associate Dean of Students for the class of 2015. Thank you. Would the students giving the international welcome please come up to the stage? You can come up and line up on the left side. You will introduce yourself, the country you represent. Students may come up and line up on this side. We offer you greetings in some of the many languages spoken by our student body.
Hi, my name is Shirley Estime, and I'm from Haiti. Yay. Et bienvenue pour la graduation de Brookline High School.
Hi, my name is Victoria David. I'm from Honduras. Bienvenidos a la graduación de la Escuela Secundaria de Brookline High. Gracias.
Hey, my name is Parsa Dayani and I'm from Iran. به مراسم فوق التحصیلی کلاس 2015 بروکلاین خوش آمدید.
My name is Shachar Ganani. I'm from Israel. ברוכים הבאים לטקס הסיום של ברוקליין הייסקול.
My name is Giovanna Castro. I'm from Brazil. Bem-vindos à formatura da classe de 2015.
My name is Marina Luisa Marcato and I'm from Greece. Καλώς ήρθατε στην αποφοίτηση της τάξης του 2015 από το Brookline High School.
My name is Paulina Sokolova and I'm from Russia. Добро пожаловать на церемонию окончания Brookline High School.
My name is Ning Duan. I'm from China. Welcome. 欢迎大家莅临 Brookline High School 2015届毕业典礼。
Hi, my name is Fabio Di Fabrizio. I'm an Italian from New Jersey. Benvenuti alla cerimonia di diploma di liceo di Brookline.
Hi, my name is Mustafa Onur Yıldırım and I'm from Turkey. 2015 yılı Brookline High School mezuniyet törenine hoş geldiniz.
Hi, my name is Sol Badderton and I'm from Mongolia. 다 부흥 두숙된 바이리민 후리.
Hi, my name is Puvit Kitisap Khajan. I'm from Thailand. Well, ยินดีต้อนรับเข้าสู่พิธีการจบการศึกษาของโรงเรียน Brookline High School.
Hello, my name is Esther Oh and I'm from Korea. 2015학년도 브루클린 고등학교 졸업식에 오신 여러분을 진심으로 환영합니다.
Hi, my name is Mana Koike. I'm from Japan. 2015年度ブルックライン高校卒業式へようこそ。
Hi, my name is Gentian Spahia. I'm from Albania. May second year graduation time at Dumia Passionate.
Hi, my name is Maya Peiken. I'm from Brookline. I'm actually the third generation of Peikens to graduate from Brookline High School. My grandparents, Mark and Margie, graduated in the class of 1965, and my father, David, graduated in the class of 1991. So, welcome everybody to the Brookline High School graduation ceremony of 2015.
Thank you very much, students. We are so proud to be represented by such a diverse group of students. I would now like to introduce our first musical selection of the afternoon, performed by two of our seniors. The song is titled SOS. It was written by Dewan Hardy and will be performed by Dewan Hardy and Taylor James.
How's everyone doing? I got time. This is so fun. You can take a picture if you want. I'll pose. Yeah. Ooh, mic's on. Oh. I think the mic's good. That was my mom. Oh, yeah. Ready?
Wake up and think it's a new day. Dad's gone, mom doesn't look okay. And you wonder why. They would argue more than a few days. Non-stop, don't know what to say. So you just cry. You wanna do things on your own, but you don't want to take this path. Remember, you're not alone. A good life is Can we join our hands? Everybody understand what this world is coming to. Life can bring you down, but you shouldn't turn around. Stand your ground just for you. Hanging out at school, getting lifted. Your friends all know you're addicted, but you doubt that. You know you've been acting different since you went through the eviction, and you can't go back. You try to do things on your own, but you don't want to take this path. Remember, you're not alone. A good life is what you wanna have. Don't you give up now. I will always show you how to get back on your feet. Fight with all you got. Keep on climbing to the top. Never stop. No defeat. Don't you give up now. I will always show you how to get back on your feet. Fight with all you got. Keep on climbing to the top. Never stop. No defeat.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Taylor and Dewan, for that beautiful, beautiful song. I'm Scott Butchart, Dean of Students for the class of 2015. It has been my great honor to shepherd this wonderful group of young people through the 4 years of high school. I have been assisted by Associate Dean of Students Alexia Thomas, whom I would like to invite to join me at the podium for a few remarks about the experiences we all shared during our time together.
Thank you, Dean Bouchard. What a beautiful day today. I must admit I was a little worried about the weather because in case you don't remember, it has rained on every major school-wide event your class has had. It's true. This includes opening day, freshman year, when we were packed into the Schlunch gym rather than out on this beautiful field. It rained during both Potter Puff games, both of your proms, especially the most recent senior prom, where it was 50 degrees with various downpours. Luckily today, the sun is shining, the temperature is cool, a slight breeze, and we'll get to enjoy the commencement outside. While we are enjoying the day, I would also like to acknowledge the many, many people in your lives who have guided and supported you along the way. Your families, both immediate and extended. They have high hopes for you. They want what's best for you, even if you don't always see eye to eye. The faculty and staff here at BHS, they taught you, mentored you, advised you, listened to you, held high expectations, taught you some more, and treated you as individuals, not just as a classroom of students. And to our school, district, and town leaders, these are often the folks behind the scenes, like the many individuals who made today possible. People who seek out and hire excellent staff and create policies and avenues in order to best support the teaching and learning of all of our students. So thank you. And I want to congratulate you, not just for your completion of high school today, but for what you've accomplished along the way. As a class, you have so much to be proud of. You've competed in athletic events, performances, contests, quiz bowls. And I want to take a minute to give a special shout out to the many seniors who are still competing right now. Boys baseball, boys and girls tennis, boys crew who has 20 rowers headed to nationals, boys and girls tracks who have athletes that qualified for New England's. You're a graduate of Brookline High School after today, and yet your leadership and commitment continue to represent us and our school well. This is something I hope you will always remember and always be proud of. You all represent this institution. You represent its successes and its failures and its core values, including respect for human differences and educational equity. You, as a class, led and shared your personal experiences at the first Asking for Courage Day on Race and Race Relations at Brookline High School. Many of you voted at the most recent town override election this past May. You were part of the first high school students ever to perform Naomi Izuka's provocative and award-winning contemporary play, Good Kids. You were accepted into the All-State Music Festival and received awards and recognitions from the Berkeley College High School Music Festival. You created the first senior-to-senior scholarship and donated over $400 in one day during this past Wednesday when we had our Senior Day activities. With these group accomplishments and your collective individual accomplishments, you have a lot to be proud of. And along with being proud, there's a few things I'd like to thank you for. I would like to thank you for creeping right up to that 21 absence mark, but not going over. You know who you are. And I'm sure Miss McIntosh would like to thank you for checking in with her over these last few weeks in order to get your absence totals. I would like to thank you for forgetting that we do have an attendance policy, and yes, it does apply to you as well. I want to thank you for giving Dean Bouchard some more gray hairs, perhaps it's white at this point, and giving me perhaps my first one, although I'm not really sure because I pulled it out. I want to thank you for challenging our teachers and us, for standing up to the institution when it was necessary, sometimes proving us wrong, and sometimes just bothering us so much that you wear us down and we give in. Parents, I'm sure you can relate to this. But on a more serious note, I want to thank you for the deep compassion and generosity you provide to those around you. I want to thank you for letting us watch you grow and develop into the beautiful and amazing individuals who sit here before us and who I know will make us proud in the years to come. Thank you so much, and I will turn it over to Dean Bouchard.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Ms. Thomas has been a huge part of the success of this class, and I'm extremely grateful for her help and support. Together, we have watched you grow from giggly, silly, and rambunctious freshmen into the mature and self-confident people we see before us today. 4 years ago, you were a handful, bubbling with energy and overflowing with excitement at finally coming to the high school. We cajoled you about behavior and exhorted you about academics. You got to know the hundreds of new faces and made many new friends. In 10th grade, you settled down a bit, took on many harder classes and new challenges, joined teams and clubs, and staked out your territory in the cafeteria. Your grades started to count in your GPA. Your parents relaxed a bit about your transition to the high school. You took your last MCAS tests. Many of you were selected to be junior mentors. You started to feel more comfortable about your personal voice in our big school. You started to decide what kind of person and what kind of student you wanted to be here. Junior year was even more exciting. New teachers, new friends, but also PSATs, SATs, ACTs, varsity sports, school trips to France, Japan, Mexico, and so many experiences last year that have no parallel and no repetition. You felt important in the school, leading activities, promoting your interests, making BHS a more thoughtful, caring, and inclusive environment. Your contributions to the school took on a more permanent feel. Your voices as young adults became louder and more compelling. You earned our respect. As juniors, many of you hit the high point of your careers as high schoolers. You took care of your business and were easy to work with. We became more and more fond of you as you developed and shared with us the depth of your personalities and the strength of your intellects. As seniors, you and we had to balance your newly achieved status as 18-year-old adults with the continuing reality of being high schoolers. You started to want more freedom, more independence, a greater ability to speak your mind and to make choices. You owned your slice of the cafeteria, ruled over the senior hallway, annoyed or enchanted your teachers, lorded it over the underclassmen, energized sports teams, publications, and clubs, and generally thought you were running the place. Miss Holman, Miss Thomas, and I disagreed, but we all had a great time trying to balance freedom with responsibility. While you were achieving great things in the classroom, on stage, on playing fields, in the auditorium, and in all the BHS places where growing up occurs, you are also growing into people whom we appreciate deeply for your talents, whom we respect for your contributions, and whom we love for your amazingly individual personalities. Each time we saw you, inside or outside of the building, before, during, or after school, you blessed us with your positive interactions, unique styles, and beautiful smiles. As all teenagers can be, you could be exhausting and moody, needy or emotional, but today, at the very end of your time with us, we see you as young men and women of unbounded promise, deep humanity, and pronounced individuality. You will be admiringly referred to by future seniors when they dream of the great things they might achieve. You will be talked about in the future as exemplars of the best of BHS. In short, you will all really be missed. On behalf of the entire Dean's team, Ms. Thomas, Mr. Poon, Ms. Hers, Ms. Lindor, Ms. Whalen, Mr. Schiff, Ms. Kennedy, Ms. Feller, Mr. Epstein, Ms. Bayer, Mr. Minot, Mr. Bresman, and of course, Ms. McIntosh. I wish you the very best for next year, wherever your chorus leads. May your next dignified step into the future provide you with excitement, satisfaction, success, and peace. For many years from now, we hope you'll still think of BHS as your second home away from home. Thank you, goodbye, and good luck. I will now introduce our first student speaker, Ina Meng.
The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Martin Luther King Jr. Hi, my name is Ina Meng, and I am graduating today, as you know. It's crazy to be up here, to have finally arrived on this day, a day that was always talked about to be a future event. But here I am on this day in the present. There's so much I am grateful for at BHS, except maybe getting the yearbooks a little late. Just kidding. But I am very grateful for the teachers, the teams, the friends I made, the students, the faculty, and the list goes on. But there's one idea that captures it all. I am most grateful for the opportunities I have been given here to build my character. Now, before I go on, I want to thank one person in particular. This person has been my mentor for the past few years, and he has taught me tremendously about the importance of character. And this person is my mock trial coach, Dr. Vic. And so I dedicate this speech to him. David Brooks, a New York Times columnist, writes about two types of virtues we have that build our character. These are resume virtues and eulogy virtues. He writes, "The resume virtues are the ones you list on your resume, the skills that you bring to the job market and that contribute to external success. The eulogy virtues are deeper. They're the virtues that get talked about at your funeral, the ones that exist at the core of your being, whether you are kind, brave, honest, or faithful, what kind of relationships you formed." So in high school terms, that's Common App credentials versus how we are remembered by our peers and teachers once we've all left. I'll address resume virtues first. Society tells us that perfection and material success means a great deal. In high school terms, that means others measure our worth in terms of our grades, SAT scores, awards, etc. There's nothing wrong with wanting and striving to do well in school and on tests. In fact, it's great to strive for these goals. But what is wrong and detrimental is when we make these Common App credentials the only measure of our self-worth and how much we believe in and like ourselves. When I said it's great to strive for these resume virtues, I emphasize the strive part. The process is incredibly important. Failure is incredibly important. The process and how you push and carry yourself is where you build your character. Now, there are a number of experiences that I've gone through in my time here that have tremendously helped me in developing my eulogy virtues. First, I'm going to tell you a story to illustrate the importance of the team. So this year, my mock trial team, led by Dr. Vick and Ms. Horn, went against a school we lost to last year. For a year, we put in an incredible amount of work, with morning and afternoon practices at least 4 times a week, in addition to weekend and vacation practices and Skyping into the late hours. And so when we realized we would go against the same team, we were so excited. This was our chance to prove ourselves and to validate our work. And so off we went, to the courthouse. And we lost by 1 point, a tiebreaker point. And we were crushed. I felt so utterly defeated and worthless. But then my phone started ringing. Text after text, my teammates took to write to each other, thanking each other for an incredible year. I had and still have no words to describe the deep compassion and care and love we felt for and shared with each other that night and ever since. The relationships we created on this team, in the process, have resulted in the formation of a family. The characteristics we developed in the process, these are our eulogy virtues, how we will be remembered in each other's minds wherever we end up in life. We didn't need a material win in order to validate our hard work. Our friendships were the testament. But the failure didn't stop us. We carry ourselves forth. 2 weeks following the loss, we began discussing next year and training the next group of students. And so we beat on. This brings me to my second point, facing failure. When you face failure, you are faced with a crucial choice, and the outcome of this choice will determine your character. Will you take charge of your failure, learn from it, or will you feel worthless and feel sorry for yourself? You know that saying, "It will be okay"? Well, that's only partially true. It will only be okay if you make it okay. You must own up to your failure and say, "I messed up," or "I couldn't have done anything else, but I won't let this failure defeat me. I will move on." And that is when you grow as a person. I have faced failures and difficulties in mock trial, in fencing, in pentathlon, in academics, in friends and family relationships, in judgment, but these failures have allowed me to grow and re-examine my priorities. Moving on from a failure doesn't necessarily mean you have to pursue the same thing again. It often does, but it also means it's time for you to figure out what your priorities. Knowing how to balance different commitments along with taking care of yourself is another crucial aspect of building character. So this year, I tried to take on a lot, but I was exhausted. I had this skin disease called psoriasis. It's a genetic disease mostly triggered by stress, and it causes red and itchy spots. It's not contagious or life-threatening. But at the same time I was going through this, a teacher constantly reminded me that I needed to take care of myself. So I was getting both external and internal reminders. And I made a choice here that terrified me then, but relieves me now. I decided to focus on what I truly enjoyed doing. And that was mock trial and figuring out ways to give back to the Brookline community, along with taking care of myself and my family. Now I am so grateful for that choice. Here's my message. Don't necessarily ignore one virtue for the other, but rather strive to find a balance between the two. In high school, this means to strive to do well in school, get what you can to put on the Common App, but place emphasis on the process to build your character. A depth of character means a great deal. If the foundations of who you are is solid, you will find great success because you have defined your success not in terms of just resume virtues or Common App credentials, but also in terms of your kindness, your compassions, and the relationships you form. To the class of 2015, it has been my honor to have known you, to have received your friendship and endless kindness. I will dearly miss this community and this feeling of what Marina Keegan called the opposite of loneliness. To my class and everyone, I urge you to join a team, stand up to failure, and to take care of yourself in order to build character. I am still striving to build my character, and I think I will always continue to do so. But I take great comfort in knowing that we are in this together, that we will forever be a unit, a team called the class of 2015. And so as we go our separate ways, from the comfort of familiarity into the terrifying abyss of unfamiliarity, as our youth slowly but gradually slips away from us, and as we become more and more confused about what we're supposed to do with our lives, let us not forget that we have each other to look towards to for help and inspiration always. Thank you.
Thank you, Ina, for the words of wisdom. We're now going to have our second student piece. Noah Vanderwerf, Jared Shanks, Jonathan Chavit, Corey Karen, Gabe Minenberg will play Strasbourg Saint-Denis by Roy Hargrove. Thank you very much. I'd now like to introduce our second student speaker, Tyler Knight.
So, I'm Tyler Knight, and I have a speech for you today. Hopefully my cap doesn't fall off. All right. Dear BHS, class of 2015. The other day, I was thinking about Mark Zuckerberg. Specifically, I was thinking about how inadequate he makes me feel. How he single-handedly kick-started one of the largest digital revolutions in history before he was 20 years old. How he became the poster boy of success, with the title of world's youngest billionaire under his belt. I thought of how he'd whizzed through life and mastered it like it was nothing. I thought of all the amazing things amazing people were doing when they were my age, and I thought, what have I done? Have I done anything amazing? Do I have anything meaningful to be proud of? I recalled feeling proud one time that for once, I folded all my socks after doing the laundry. Okay, so what? Mark Zuckerberg probably folds his socks all the time. In fact, he probably folds his socks using a Roomba he reprogrammed in his sleep. He probably owns 15 laundromats, his own sock company, and a designer line made from the wool of grass-fed sheep. A perfect billionaire like him is probably superior in every way. Well, probably not. See, for all his world-changing accomplishments, Mark Zuckerberg is just an average dude. The truth is, he drives a mid-priced Volkswagen to work. He forgets people's names, he burns the toast, and I doubt he's reprogrammed a Roomba to fold his socks. He'd be too busy checking Facebook to do something like that. In that case, I can relate to Mark, because I too have checked Facebook when I should have been doing a lot of other things. So yeah, browsing his silly site and thinking of his successful life has made me feel inadequate. But it's because of that feeling I've realized something pretty important. You should never compare yourself to Mark Zuckerberg, or Steve Jobs, or Bill Gates, or Beyonce, or anyone for that matter. Because if you do, you'll only feel worse about your own accomplishments. Even one of our great presidents, Theodore Roosevelt, knew this in his day. Sometime back in the 30s, when he wasn't hunting a bear, he said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." When I read that quote on my Facebook newsfeed, it instantly resonated with me. It was just so true to my experience as a high schooler. I could recall a dozen moments where comparison had sapped someone's hard-earned joy. For example, junior year, I witnessed an interaction between two peers. This girl excitedly ran up to her friend and told her she had beaten her personal best on a practice SAT. Her friend casually asked her, "Oh, what did you get?" And the girl proudly told her, 1870. With barely any hesitation, her friend replied, "Nice, I got 2060. The girl's face dropped, and her self-esteem looked visibly battered. In an instant, she went from feeling on top of the world to feeling worthless. And what was to blame? Comparison. History repeated itself this year with the talk of college. Decisions started rolling in, and it was difficult not to size up my worth as a person by the schools that wanted me. People would openly trash talk their safeties, unaware that the person next to them applied to that school as a reach. Little phrases like, "If I don't get into my next school, I might have to go to blank," stung like daggers. The status and hierarchy that this subconscious comparison gave people was at times all-consuming. I thought of all the Mark Zuckerbergs in my life, those who were golden in my eyes, untouchable, the kids who were effortlessly good at everything, good at what I was bad at, better at what I was good at. They had more friends, better grades, better looks, more talents. They had the life I wished I had. On some level, I revered them because I knew I was hopelessly inferior. But then I got to know a few more personally. I was shocked to discover that despite their amazing abilities, they too had insecurities, weaknesses, and even their own doubts of self-worth. They were no different than me. Suddenly, they didn't seem so out of my league, and I realized they never were. So it took me 4 years, many encounters of being robbed by comparison, and even moments where I robbed others, to realize that comparison is utterly useless. My outlook on life has markedly improved since I took Roosevelt's words to heart. So follow my lead. If you're leaving BHS feeling lonely, inferior, or unspectacular, then let me tell you, you've been robbed of your rightful joy. In your time here, whether you folded your socks or invented Facebook, be proud of what you've done. Because if there's anyone who deserves to be celebrated right now, it's you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. I would like to ask Jeanette Lindor, fellow senior steering advisor, and two of our senior steering committee members, Cecilia Hardigan and Sophie Budden, to come up on stage for the presentation of the class gift. Cecilia and Sophie, along with the efforts of Titi Adams, Shirley Estime, Talia Morales, and Elena Goldstein, worked to fundraise over $6,000 over the past 4 years in order to help defray the costs of the many recent senior events. Please welcome Cecilia and Sophie.
On behalf of the class of 2015, we'd like to present Ms. Holman in Brookline High School with our class gift. Our class gift is a table for seating in the quad. Good?
Thank you, class of 2015. I accept that gift.
Me too.
So does Dean Bouchard. Great, thank you. All right, I would like to welcome Congressman Joe Kennedy to Brookline High School. We are proud to have Congressman Kennedy represent Brookline in the U.S. House of Representatives. Joe Kennedy's legislative office notes that Joe has become a powerful voice for social justice, championing issues like employment non-discrimination, pay equity, marriage equality, and comprehensive immigration reform. His legislative office also notes that Joe's legislative agenda is driven by the communities back home. From recent personal experience, I can confirm that this is extremely true. Last month, with a number of you in the audience of our graduates, a group of Brookline High students spent the day in D.C. lobbying Congress on behalf of Amnesty International. Congressman Kennedy took time out of his very busy schedule to meet us on the steps of the Capitol. He listened to students' requests, connected students' ideas to his own international experience in the Peace Corps. He answered students' questions and gave them some advice on life. Congressman Kennedy, thank you for hosting Brookline High in Washington, D.C. Thank you for the work that you do on behalf of all Americans, and thank you so much for being here with us today. It's my honor to welcome Congressman Joe Kennedy III.
What's going on, 2015? How we doing? Thank you so much for the honor of joining you here today. Thank you, Headmaster Holman, for the kind introduction, for the honor of the invitation, for your commitment both to this high school and the greater Brookline community. Ina and Tyler, wow. When you both come back from college, please do me a huge favor and move somewhere outside the 4th District. I know competition when I see it. Seriously. Thank you for your incredibly thoughtful remarks and your leadership here at BHS. To Dean Bouchard, Associate Dean Thomas, all of the teachers, advisors, administrators, employees, and volunteers at Brookline High. Thank you for caring about each and every student that has walked through these doors. You are the reason their futures shine so brightly today. There you go, one over there. You guys are coming next. For those in the class of 2015, I just want to also take a second, and if you look literally all around you, you are surrounded by your friends, your family, extended family, and the extended Brookline community. You would not, despite all of your talents, all of your drive, all of your accolades, would not be here without all of them. I'd ask you all to give a big round of applause to those that are sitting on the outside of this fence for helping all of you that are inside. And of course, most importantly, to the class of 2015, the family, friends, fans, and fellow Warriors gathered here in the audience today, congratulations. Now, I'm not an alumnus of this school, but I have been told that my doppelganger is. Unfortunately, Jeff Adrian is at the moment playing in China, so I had to take his place. You guys thought I heard Conan. No, not Conan. There you go. There is another Ginger giving me a shout out there, though, so appreciate that. That's right. The endless hours waiting at the tea at Brookline Hills, late night recording sessions at the Teen Center, and way too many meals at Anna's. And trust me, that metabolism will slow down in a couple of years. And now the only thing standing between you guys and your diploma is me. Don't worry, you don't have to be in Congress all that long to realize that the golden rule of giving a good speech, get to the end quickly. So I'll keep this brief. I know graduates of 2015 will thank me. Yeah, guys, I can still see the glow of those cell phones from up here, even when it is sunny out. Commencements are usually chock full of advice. I know this because it relates to the one piece of advice that I will give you today. If in the future, any of you are ever asked to give a commencement address, do yourself a favor and avoid Googling best commencement speeches of all time. There's no better way, as Tyler just showed, to convince yourself that this was a terrible mistake than spending a couple of hours watching some of the greatest orators of our time, a few presidents, Oprah, Stephen Colbert, impart their years of wisdom and experience on an audience of enraptured graduates. But the upside of waiting till the high school graduations is that the best commencement speeches of 2015 articles have already been written. So all expectations for me are out the window. Graduates, as someone who is not terribly removed from the seats that you sit in today, at least that's what I like to keep telling myself, I don't know that I have all that much life-altering wisdom to tell you. Your parents and teachers can give you all the advice you need. And if they don't, you can come find me after, and I'll give you a quick rundown on what I found out on Google. Instead, I do have a favor to ask of you. As you walk away from this tight-knit community and embark on the pleasure and pain that is adulthood, you will find challenges that test your wits, your spirit, and your resolve. Diplomas received, jobs won, pennies pinched, promotions lost, families raised, homes bought, hearts broken, and every single precious moment in between. The often unglamorous but deeply sacred milestones of growing up and growing old in this country. And as you come upon those tests, what I ask of you today is that you won't ever let anyone tell you the following words: you're too young. Make yourself a promise right here and right now, in this moment that is unlike any other in the brilliance that is your lives. Promise that so long as you are blessed with it, you will wear your youth as a badge of honor. For the record, I don't mean that you should show up in your freshman seminar and challenge your professor with pics or it didn't happen when you missed your first class. Trust me, you'd rather not see the pics. Don't tell your parents not to worry, your grades are on fleek, and hope that they act cool and don't ask what you're talking about. What I mean is this: more than grades, internships, and resumes, it is the fresh eyes and clear dreams of this generation that are the most valuable assets you can offer the world outside this campus. In 1966, a young senator from New York named Robert Kennedy took a trip to South Africa. There, in the midst of a country mired in apartheid, he told the students that gathered to hear him speak that, quote, a young monk began the Protestant Reformation, a young general extended an empire from Macedonia to the borders of the earth, and a young woman reclaimed the territory of France. It was a young Italian explorer who discovered the New World, and a 32-year-old Thomas Jefferson who wrote that all men are created equal. This world demands the qualities of youth, my grandfather continued. Not a time of life, but a state of mind, a temper of the will, a quality of the imagination, a predominance of courage over timidity, of the appetite of adventure over the love of ease. It is a revolutionary world we live in, and thus it is young people who must take the lead. Nearly 50 years later, the need for courage, imagination, and risk-taking is as urgent as it has ever been. But a disturbing human habit has persisted, a tendency to somehow use the word youth dismissively as a way to insinuate a lack of experience or insight or expertise. Today, thanks to the opportunities that you have seized here in your years at BHS, you've got plenty of all three. Take a look at all that you have tackled over the past 4 years. You organized families and defended Metco because you recognized that it made your community stronger. You founded a Young Republican Club and a Student Democrats Club to debate the issues facing our country. You've written for one of the best high school newspapers in the nation. And there you go. At least one of you did. Started the new Senior to Senior Scholarship and reignited school spirit across the campus. You have studied to be tomorrow's teachers and stood peacefully with protesters at the Black Lives Matter march in Boston. Next week, your men's rowing team will send 20 athletes to nationals. Graduating with you today are students immediately joining City Year and the IDF, attending college from Stanford to Suffolk, seeking out ways to leave their own mark on new parts of our country and our world. But still, your generation, our generation, more than any other before it, has been plagued by doubt and cynicism about what we can accomplish. There are no lack of opinions on so-called millennials, whether it's the cover of Time magazine declaring us the me generation, or opinion makers across the globe trying to fit the experiences of today's young people into words like selfie or Snapchat. We are wildly creative and impossibly self-centered, resourceful and reckless, virtuous and vain. But of course, the context of our story matters. We came of age in a country that had just watched the Twin Towers fall, shaped by the long and painful wars that followed, an economy on its knees, and a government ground to a halt in division and dysfunction. So the cliff notes of our generation have become well known. Unemployment rates higher than our parents and grandparents, home ownership, 401ks and savings accounts at record lows, college debt at all-time crushing highs. But as you've probably learned at some point over the past few years, cliff notes don't tell the whole story. We grew up in a world where women run boardrooms, where African Americans can turn to their governor or their president and see a face that looks like theirs. Where a young boy can immigrate to this country, grow up on food stamps, go on to design a social media app that Facebook would one day buy for $19 billion. Millennials are more committed to volunteering in public service than any other generation. We're notoriously more attached to the purpose of our work rather than the salary that comes with it. We're collaborative, cooperative, more inclined to seek change from the ground up, not just accept it from the top down. Our generation, we even look different. You don't have to go any further than the Brookline High class of 2015 to see the stunning diversity that is truly the proud new face of these United States. But still, from this day on, you'll meet person after person that is inclined to doubt the capability of your youth. And this I can speak to from some experience. While serving in Congress has undoubtedly given me, too, some gray hairs. You probably noticed I'm on the younger side of folks that are normally in elected office. When I first ran 3 years ago, it was a refrain I heard time and time again. He's too young. He's just a kid. He doesn't have the experience. Let me be clear. Experience matters. Wisdom accumulates. Time heals. Age softens. Our lives, our stories, and graduates, we are in the early chapters, which means an entire lifetime lies ahead. We'll make some really big mistakes, learn a thing or two, gain more confidence, intuition, and understanding every single day. But as the days and years pass, we'll also lose something. Our youth. That particular mix of fearlessness and hopefulness, of inventiveness, shining boldly and brightly in each of you here today. And that's okay. Youth was never ours to claim or keep. Rather, she's passed from one generation to the next. The patient impatience of generations of young American men and women who have never been afraid to demand better of their country, nor deterred by the long and often rocky road. Graduates, there are few certainties in life, but I promise you, right now, that sometime in these next few years, someone will use your age to make you feel small. They'll say you're too young to take on more responsibility, too inexperienced to pitch a big idea, too green to handle a crisis, too naive to understand what's really going on. And when that happens, I hope that you'll remember the promise we made here today, that you will never let someone else use your age as an excuse to clip your wings. Class of 2015, your youth is your gift. It is fleeting and fast, so own it, cherish it, and put it to work. Use it to make our world better, kinder, stronger, and fairer than she has ever been. You are not too young. You are not too naive. You are not too inexperienced. You are exactly what your country needs. So hurry up, because she's waiting for you. Congratulations to the class of 2015.
Thank you, Congressman Kennedy. Class of 2015, your senior year at Brookline High has been quite a year locally, nationally, and globally. Perhaps it's been really for you a test case for life. There have been great celebrations and achievements, but also many events that test our faith in our future. At the global level, we've watched political tension and violence, and you've seen this year in classes and on the news, unrest take its toll. At the national level, the events last year in Ferguson, Missouri, and Staten Island, New York, caused us all to be witness to marginalized communities straining to be heard and understood, to police departments straining to be heard and understood, to political leaders and the citizenry trying to make meaning of all these events. An intensity of awareness and discussion about racism, bias, and privilege was renewed in many national arenas, in many cities, in many of our classrooms, your classrooms, and at many of our dinner tables. All of this has tested our hopes for a peaceful nation and challenged our notions of equality in modern America. On a local level, at Brookline High, students, you've been involved intimately with many of these global, national, and local discussions. A few examples, those of you who went with Amnesty International to lobby in Washington, D.C. Many of you marched in the People's Climate Change March in New York City. Many of you weekly go next door to Dorchester and tutor elementary students at the Mather School. And at home, here at BHS, many of you in the class of 2015 helped build and amplify an important school-wide discussions actually, about racism, bias, and privilege, about LGBTQ issues this year, and about gender equality. All of these are adult conversations that you, as adults, not young adults, not youth, but as adults, will continue to be involved in for life. The Brookline community and Brookline High have a deep and historical value in citizen participation in community and politics, and we now pass that belief on to you. Part of this belief is that you are blessed with a superb education and equipped now with skills to engage in these adult conversations and real-world challenges. So how will you, class of 2015, bear witness to this responsibility in your future speech and political participation, in your creativity and visual art, in your performing arts, in your future journalism and writing, in your pursuits in science and engineering, in your pursuits in social justice and global leadership, to name just a few. Over the next many years, one of your major goals is to figure out how you will contribute to and engage in the complexity of our world in ways that are true to you. In doing so, have humility, listen to many, many viewpoints, decide where your viewpoint lands, and enjoy the journey. On behalf of the Brookline High faculty and staff, I will say again and again, well actually for a last time, that we are so proud of you. We wish you luck in everything that you do, and we truly invite you to return to BHS and share with us your exciting adventures. Congratulations, class of 2015. Now I will present the class of 2015 to the senior staff of the public schools of Brookline. Superintendent Bill Lupini regrets that he's not able to join us today. His daughter is actually graduating. But I am very excited that Deputy Superintendent for Finance, Peter Rowe, who has had a long career here, will accept the class. Come on. Mr. Rowe, I present to you the class of 2015. Will you accept?
Thank you, Headmaster Holman. I will accept. I've seen today the results of your hard work over the 4 years that you've been here, and you really understand what hard work over time means. And so I want each of you to thank each other, congratulate the members of your class. Remember to thank your parents and the members of the community that have supported you, and thank your teachers and the staff here. You've done a wonderful job, and I accept this class.
All right, we will now get ready to confer diplomas. Yeah. You know what? We're reversing it. So you guys are actually over here. He's starting the kids over here. Oh, okay. Yeah. So. Yes. Well, that's a long way from diploma. But the diploma is a year. Well, I'm not sure what when you carry the diploma. So we just need another person. Maybe Barbara can help. I can help. All right, you get a long stretch. All right. I think they're just kind of coming down the line here. Okay. Just wait. Are we good?
We're good?
Okay, we're good.
Okay, my pacing, you'll just let me know.
Oh, we'll let you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
ready?
Okay.
Yeah?
Because that's a class marshal. Okay.
I'm going for it? Okay. Erin Frederick. Kalila Abner. Terrain Adams. Ider Akalton. Queentai Akamafula. Peter Allen. Juan Pablo Almagro. Mara Alvarado. Elizabeth Alves. Brett Amendola. Shahar Amite. Robert Amryan. David Angelov. Amir Ankori Karlinski. Diego Aragon Caqueo. Amit Arbel. Zachariah Badran. Akul Bal. Isabel Ballard. Solahu Batterdine. Ariane Baum. Nyambi Baines White. Roxana Begum. Idamar Bedari. Nathaniel Bekele. Jonathan Bell. Anya Beslick. Olivia Billow. Noah Bloomstein. Lily Bolke. Alexander Buderlein. Shanice Boyd. Raven Brathwaite. Adam Brent. Ellen Brink. Matthew Brown. Catherine Broomberg. Portia Brummett. Sophia Budden. Nikita Budnick. Rebecca Bueno. Ella Bunnell. Judge Berge. Stephen Bushy. Jordy Cabanas. Giovanni Kane. Jerry Camille. Sarah Cardwell Smith. Corey Carone. Hannah Carroll. Jair Castillo. Giovanna Castro. Yishmael Catedral Ramirez. Jarrett Chan. Maya Chan. Mana Shavali. Suri Shavali.
Gustavo Chavez Nunez. Stephen Chen. Stephanie Chin. Vanessa Chin. Ivy Choi. Jalen Chow. Eli Chimino. Elena Cisneros Garcia. Sierra Clifton. Sarah Cohen. Adam Cohn. Caitlin Collins. Clarice Contente. The diploma for Isabella Conway will be presented by her mother, Bridget Knightley, BHS librarian. Christina Cook. Catherine Cook. Paul Corcoran. Lucia Costantini. Oliver Costolo. Julia Cotney. Seth Coven. Haley Kramer. Andres Crespo. Nolan Crowley. Erin Crutter. Nina Cummins. Emmanuel D'Agostino. Marley D'Amore Morrison. Liam Daler. Karina DeRosa. Victoria David. Rebecca Davis. Parsa Dayani Dardashti. Tanisha De Leon. Andrew Dempsey. Fabio Di Fabrizio. John Dubois. Ning Duan. Billy Dunn McMartin. Anissa Ivers. Amelia Elliott. Catherine Erickson. Shirley Estime. Griffin Iwanowski. Jessica Fang. Ariel Farb. Sydney Farb. Jason Fernstrom. Nina Finkhouse. Catherine Finnerty. Catherine Fleming. Alasia Flores. Dylan Flynn. Joseph Foley. Dylan Frank. Rihanna Spiky Freeman. Hannah Friedman Bell. Lucy Friedman Bell.
Slow it down just a minute. I think there's just like a little hold up right there.
Just one more second, one more minute. One more minute. Okay, go ahead.
Emma Gallion. Nicholas Galatano. Shahar Ganani. Anna Garjulo. Nicole Garinkle. Davi Gazelle. Kristen Garrity. Benjamin Gerber. Daniel Gittleman Egan. Lindsay Glass. Noah Goiberg. Sonia Goldman. Daniel Goldstein. Elena Goldstein. Clayton Goldthwaite. Elijah Goodman. F. Samuel Goodman. Shannon Goodrich. Anya Gorodentsev. Ethan Goroff. Melanie Grad Freilich. Thomas Graham. Alexandra Greenberg. Jonah Greenfield. Charles Greenstein. Allie Gregoire. Andrew Gregory. Mark Gregory. Amir Grice. Alexandra Grinev. Benjamin Grobstein. Creedy Garung. Gabrielle Gatormson. Parisa Hagahat. Max Hamowitz. Izumi Hama. Samuel Hamilton. Dewan Hardy. Cecilia Hardigan. Daniel Hayes. Kevin He. Rachel Heckinger. Claudia Hermano. Christopher Herr. Francisco de Borja El Raiz. Abigail Herskovici. Samantha Hugh. Thomas Higgins. Theodora Hobson. Zoe Hoffler. Andres Hoffman. Martin Hoffman. Yu Jin Hong. Misha Hook. Christopher Hopkins. Raul Howard. Molly Howarth. Hoi Man Wai. Charles Hull. Christopher Husseini. Joel Jiho Eam. Motomu Ishida. Courtney Isom. Isabel Iverson. Susanna Jack. Rebecca Jacobson. Taylor James. Tanis James. Olivia Jean. Madeline Ju. Raisang Jang. Yolim Jo. Myra Johnson. Jalane Joseph. Stephanie Jung. Madeline Call. Elijah Kalb. Juliana Kaplan. Yorgo Karamina. Gerald Carney. Nicholas Karnofsky. Merlin Katz. Nathan Katz. David Kazantsev. Marlena Keisler. Patrick Kelly. Daniel Kennedy. Ryan Kilday. Temin Kim. Noah Kimia. Anthony King. Puvit Kirisapkajan. Sam Klebanov. Sarah Kadem. Evan Klein. Tiger Neller. Ariel Knight. Tyler Knight. Stephanie Ko. Hotaka Kabori. Armand Kochi. Jeffrey Koech. Mana Koike. Thomas Kalarick. Veronica Kovalchik. David Crane. Amanda Lacey. Jason Lammers.
Jonathan Bell is here.
We're going to switch because he's going to bring him up.
He was here.
Feels realize it.
Oh, we did, okay.
Who's did he get? Did he walk by without getting it?
Yeah, well.
I don't know. Yes, yes.
Yep,
Yeah,
walk
Al's
in.
getting ready.
Oh, no, I know
Yeah.
this side.
So you guys, yeah, should we go over this way?
Okay, so where are we going to go first? Here by May.
James Provenost. Gabrielle Lamont Dobbin. Noah Langton. Mayan Landy. Alexander Lapidus. Ivan Larionenka. Vincent Loffer. Yarden Lebenthal. Gayan Ashley Lee. James Lee. Richard Lee. Sangmin Lee. Joshua Lepson. Cooper Lev. Jack Levine. Quinn Lewis. Jarong Lee. Le Jan Lee. Felice Liang. Deborah Lieberman. Jonathan Lindstrom Vautrin. Daria Lipsit. Rachel Liu. Yudi Liu. Atalia Lopez. Emmanuel Lorenzo. Zoe Love. Kate Lundy. Sarah Luster. Ethan McDonald. Rebecca McGillivray. Jake Macmillan. Tomomi Maeda. Sarah Mayella. Dana Manor Peleg. Jeremy Margolis. Maya Margolis. Noah Mark. Marina Luisa Marcatu. Phoenix Marks. Hannah Martin. Clara Martin. Yulia Marusik. Robert B. Mast. Denzel Maxey. Mars McCarrick. Sean McDonough. Shelby McDonough. Dylan McGuire. Cameron McKenzie. Finn McMillan. Deirdre McPhee. Desmond Meacham. Ina Meng. Deja Meredith. Jason Meyerowitz. Alana Myers. Stefano Micali. Raphael Michaels. Benjamin Miller Schmidt. Gabriel Minnenberg. Tate Mitchell. Joshua Mitnick. Nilsan Mokadi. Carol Montalvan Palma. Eddie Montano. Lindsay Meridian. Talia Morales. Sofia Moreno. Holly Moy. John Moyer. Zoe Mulford. Shazad Mumtaz. Hannah Nadowitz. Camille Newsom. Michael Nikulin. Nathan Noel. Alua Noyan. Camilla O'Brien. George O'Day. Madeline O'Kelly Bangsberg. Kefren O'Neill. Arinze Obiora. Andrew O. Esther G. In O. Jillian Orlando Milbauer. Trent Ozaki. Georgiana Pagunes. Marta Pancani. Sowen Park. Tyler Patterson. Ariana Pelkey. Davis Perez Valentin. Zachary Pazetsky. Bruce Falk. Maya Piken. Judith Pinsky. Samuel Pinsky. Samuel Platkow. Sophia Poole. Danya Potter. Keshav Prabhu Schlosser. Aviv Preminger. Sophia Provisor. Aida Elizabeth Quinones. Sophia Ramsey. Saskia Randall. Daria Rasulian. Shriya Ratti. Luke Reevy. Nicholas Rhodes. Zoe Rice. Eleanor Richardson. Ava Ringquist. Lena Rintel. Evelyn Rivera.
Marcos Rodriguez. Amit Rogel. Talia Rose. Ezra Rosenberg. Sophie Rosenberg. Sarah Ann Rosenthal. Orin Rosen. Marcus Ross. Priya Roy. Samuel Russell. Nathaniel Sandalo Ash. Jacob Sanditon. Daniela Santiago. Catherine Santos. Royale Sanyika Hall. Sarah Sato. Jonathan Schwartz. Dan Schwartz. Kian Siebert. Travis Cito. Alina Shafranskaya. Kia Shabazi. Jared Shanks. Maya Shashua. Jonathan Shavit. Isabella Shea. Eli Schieber. Michelle Shohet. Joshua Schumann. Sarah Silvestri. Jessica Sims. Elena Sinagra. Indira Smart Pert. Jake Smith. Paulina Sokolova. Harrison Song. Jungwoo San. Gentien's Bahia. Rachel Spire Besançon, presented by her mother, Julia Spire Besançon, science teacher at BHS. Jeremy Spiro. Sophia Spiropoulos. Jacob Steinfield. Audrey Stitt. Zephyr Strauss. Sarah Sturman. Natalia Swazo Mata. Junkyo Sa. Michael Sa. Emily Summers. Adelaide Sutcliffe. Emmett Sutton. Olivier Sweet. Syrian Syed. Marina Sende. Kenneth Cito. Theodore Tamayo. Alice Tang. Judy Tang. Japri Thomas Jones. Julia Topper. Brian Toe. Isadora Trask. Samantha Triolo. Victoria Tucci. Dion Van Gorsel. Noah Vanderwerf. Henry Varona. Nicholas Vartanian. Paloma Vasquez. Devin Vidalovsky. Sophia Celeste Voss. Akane Wakai. Owen Walsh. Anchi Wang. George Wang. Hannah Weigert. Martin Weisgerber. Lucy Western. Barbara Wheeler. Samuel Whiting. Gregory Williams. Noam Wiesel. Kay Man Wong. Ziyuan Wu. Jen Shu. Carla Yakub. Kako Yamada. Theo Yannikis. Tiffany Yee. Franklin Yo. Mustafa Yildirim. Najma Yusuf. Rebecca Zagorski. Rachel Zank. Nan Zhang. Yubo Zhang. Lingxi Zhou. Yu Zhou. Dylan Zhu.
Just walk off.
Okay. Now that we're almost done, we're going to sing that song we practiced. Be masked, Akane Wakai, David Crane, come on up here. The lyrics are on the back of the program. Find a program. Warm up your voices. Come on, Akane. Come on, David Crane. Here they come. You practice. Can you just go in when they do it? Yeah. Can you see it from here, right? Yeah.
I know. Of course it counts. Two here. Yeah, Kane will be in there.
Okay.
Wait, Carolyn's up. Ready, guys? Do you see what she did? Which way should we go?
Nice job. Class of 2015, please rise. By the power vested in me by the school committee and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I am proud to confirm that you, the class of 2015, are graduates of Brookline High School.